Hi, this is Mary Bukavalis, and you're on What's My Scene Star Scene. And today we have the awesome Dale Stewart from SEETHER with us. Hey, Dale, how you going?
I'm good, thanks. How you doing?
Really well, really well. And now you're in lockdown.
Partial lockdown. It's been released a little bit. I live in Georgia. I live in Savannah, but I'm at Sean's house right now, and the whole band's here. So
Say hi.
we're yeah. I'll tell him you say hi. We're kind of a partial lockdown. Most places are open, but you have to wear a mask when you go in and things like that. But it's the cases are going down, so they're starting to lift it. It's just nice to see your boys. It's nice to get in a room together and jam. We've been rehearsing for this live stream that we're going to be doing, and so it's just fun. I mean, we haven't played since like October 2018, so it's a little rusty, and we've had to knock the rust off a bit, but
How does it
it's
feel?
just been fun, man. We've been having a good time.
How does it feel releasing an album and not being able to tour it?
It sucks. It's frustrating. We had a whole tour planned. We were supposed to be in the middle of it right now, and obviously had to cancel everything. And right as we got the album done, the COVID thing kind of began and started getting worse and worse, and then the lockdowns. It's been a bit of a kind of an eye-opening thing. You realize how much this means to you, and how important music is, and how much it helps you and feeds you, and what a big part of your life it is. And when it's taken away, it puts that in perspective for you, and that, and also how much you love your friends, and I mean, when you've been doing this as long as we are, it's more family than friends, and you miss these guys, and you miss playing music, and just getting all that stuff out of your system, being on stage, and getting sweaty and making noise, and such a big part of your life. So it's been crazy. It's been a roller coaster of emotions, if you will.
I just wanted to ask about this album, the new one. It's out tomorrow for us, 28th of August. Due date for you, via Fantasy Records. If you want peace, prepare for war. What a title!
Vis Pacem Bellum. It's a pretty heavy album. It's an angry album.
It is.
There's a lot of screaming. I think Sean had a lot to be angry about writing the album. But no, it's funny because now that since the Corona thing, which has really kind of turned everything on its head, and I know there's been issues in Australia and that too, but here in the States, we've got riots in the streets, and a couple of guys got shot last night, and so it's, and just culturally there's so much tension and animosity, and just political angst, and I guess tension is the best way to say it. And I don't know, it's the COVID thing and the lockdowns, and I think a lot of people lost their jobs, and when you lock people at home and say, hey, you have to stay home, it's not good for people. People need to be productive. I know for me, if I'm not doing something with my life, it's depressing. You need to feel important, and not in an egotistical kind of way, but just like, oh, I've contributed something, I've done something useful, I've built something, I've helped someone. It's human nature to crave that, and to need that. And if you take that away from people, they're gonna go a little nuts, and they're gonna lash out, they're gonna snap, and it's gotten way out of hand. And that's not the only factor, but it's certainly contributing.
Now you and you and Sean came from South Africa, so does it remind you in any way of things that were happening there? what was the situation like when you left?
When we left, the situation was actually quite good. The country was, I think it was very positive. When Mandela got out of jail and, we voted him in as president, and there was so much hope for the future. And he was a big part of that, because he was the kind of man he wouldn't say, oh, well, we need to take vengeance, or, it's payback time. He wasn't that guy. He said, look, it's done is done. Looking backwards isn't going to help anyone. Let's face forward. Let's make the future bright for our kids. And he really led the country. And I wish he was 20 years younger. I really do. Like, if he was 20 years younger and could have just led the country for a little longer, I think it would be in a different place, because there's so much corruption there now. And not that there wasn't corruption before and political problems before, but it's so blatant now. And it's so, even in the lockdown now, there's corruption. And the lockdowns there were like very draconian. They locked it down for months. And to the point where, like, you couldn't buy like cigarettes and alcohol, and that's hardcore. If you take that away from people, like, there's gonna be problems.
Yeah.
So they really went big time on the lockdown. And but yeah, there's a lot of problems there. And whenever I go home, I notice the problems. I don't know if that's a result of me now seeing it through different eyes now that I've immigrated to the States and I live here and I'm kind of used to things here now, or if things are kind of deteriorating, but I feel like they are. And even if it's a road that's deteriorated or a government building that's looking shabby, it's because I feel like so much of the money that should be going towards these things, building schools and infrastructure and roads, and it gets pinched off by this person and that person. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen in other governments, because corruption's rampant everywhere, but it seems to be to the point where it's kind of detrimental to the country. And I hope they turn it around, because it's not going to be good in the next 10, 20 years if it keeps on that path. I think that they need some solid reforms down there.
Scary, actually.
Yeah, it is. It's very scary. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the record, if you want peace, prepare for war, sort of goes against what Mandela said, but but it's a heavy album, like Poison the Parish was, but it doesn't really, within the songs, there's some relief from the screaming and the angst within the lyrics, but it doesn't seem any relief at the end. Like, it's still really angry album, as you said earlier.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely angry. Lyrically, I can definitely, again, it's what we were talking about. I think just, the culture in general, and, Sean and I talk about it, a lot. And it's this weird sort of social media kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, culture that we're in right now, where everyone's so preoccupied with themselves, and getting likes and clicks and things like that too. But just these little devices that live in your pocket, and everything revolves around that. And we started noticing it years ago at shows where we'd be playing and everyone's standing, they're physically there, but they're looking at the thing through the screen. And I get it, snapping shots for memories and stuff, but people just kind of filming the whole thing, and it's like, enjoy the show, man. You're here, like, put the phone down, get in the mosh pit, like, chug a beer, I don't know. Yeah. But that's kind of a minor thing, but it's just kind of a sign of the times. And I think that this whole social media thing can have a very kind of a detrimental effect too. I feel like this technology has evolved and emerged, a lot quicker than we've had time to evolve with it and learn it. And like, we don't know the long-term outcomes of social media addiction, because it's a thing, you know, and psychologically it can't be good for a teenage girl to, you know, be trying to live up to these impossible standards of these photoshopped influences and things. And they think, okay, well, if I want boys to like me, this is how I have to look. And so, you know, like suicide rates are up, and, you know, these kids have eating disorders, and bullying is just rampant because now it's easy. You know, it used to be, I go home from school and the bullying stops. It's like, okay, well, now it's cyberbullying. So there's this dark side of social media. And I mean, as great as social media is, I mean, like, you and I wouldn't be able to be speaking right now if it wasn't for it. So, I mean, it's great if you don't abuse it, but I think we need to learn that. And that's just one part of the culture, but I definitely feel like it's, you know, not necessarily a good thing. You know, I think it's like, I think social media is like alcohol. And I think it was Christopher Hitchens who said it's, you know, alcohol is a good servant, but a bad master. And I think social media is that too. I think it's a good servant and a bad master. You know, if you want to get on and, you know, see what your grandkids are up to, and it's great. But if you base your whole life around getting, you know, likes and things, and you go into depression if, you know, if things don't go your way, you know, it's bad. It's time to put the phone down and, you know, go read a book in the park or something. Or like for young men, you know, this sort of all this pornography, you know, so you're a kid and all of a sudden in your hand you have this thing, and, you know, all the pornography that you could want, and just like weird sick stuff. And like I'm for pornography. I'm very much a libertarian. I'm like, hey, like, do what you want. Like, I believe everyone should be able to do what they want. But the thing is, when you're a kid and, you know, you're too young to like really know what the world's about, and you're still trying to figure things out, and I feel like that could be quite a corruption on your brain. And not to say that we didn't, you know, steal someone's dad's Playboy when we were, you know, 12, and, you know, go behind the shed and like, whoa, you know, I mean, everyone does it. But I think just the extent now and the ease to it. I mean, again, we don't know the long-term effects of what that has on young men and again, young women with the, you know, the impossible beauty standards and things. It's like, we don't know, you know, we'll know in 20 years when, you know, there's more data on the subject.
Were there any songs on this album that were particularly difficult or challenging for you?
Dangerous was kind of challenging because it's got that tricky little, you know, little noodly bass part. But it wasn't too bad. I think generally, you know, they were all kind of, you know, they were all slightly different in terms of how challenging they were. But I didn't have a real problem with any of it. But also, you know, in this day and age, you know, with Pro Tools and things like that, it makes it so easy to make an album, because you can, you know, back in the day with tape, you start playing and, okay, from the top, all right, well, try not to mess it up again. Whereas now you can play through and like, oh, drop me in the chorus. I messed up the downbeat, cool. Then you play from there, and so it really makes it easy to play in studio. And Pro Tools is another one of those things, you know, if you abuse it and, you know, make something sound mechanical and machine-like and non-human, then I'm not necessarily a fan of it, unless that's what your band is, like some industrial metal type thing, then it's fine. But if you're a rock band and you want to sound like a live type rock band, leave it, you know, don't polish everything, don't quantize every note to be perfectly in time. It doesn't have to be. Things need to breathe and move, and, you know, a song is like, it's a living thing. And I feel like if it's too robotic, it takes something away from that song. And a lot of people do that with Pro Tools. They'll put everything in time. Okay, well, that's mathematically, that's what it's supposed to be. And I feel like feel trumps math, you know, when it comes to a rock song. I'd rather have a song that's got a good feel, or a riff that's played with a good feel, even if it's slightly, you know, veers around where the mathematical point of the note is, you know. It's and that's music. That's what makes it beautiful and alive, you know.
Do you imagine playing it live when you are recording it, or?
I do, yeah. And you always do. Well, I always do. And you think, oh yeah, this one, yeah, live. This is gonna, you know, they love this riff, and I can't wait to play this one, and you know, see the crowd going nuts and jumping in this part, because you do imagine that. You're like, oh, this heavy riff, they're really gonna go for it, and then you even start thinking like, okay, well, maybe what we can do, we can, after that second chorus, we'll just stop, and it'll just be silence, and we'll have one guitar ringing out, and we'll just build the tension for like, you know, 30 seconds, a couple bars, and we'll let it go, and then we'll kick, you know, and like you start thinking like that kind of stuff. You're like, how fun would that be if we, you know, if we drag this part out extra long and then kick in with it.
Great album, I loved it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
When you said Dangerous, I remember the film clip. Wow, that and Beg were amazing.
The animations, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we released Dangerous as a single, and we had to, of course, do a video for it. And with the lockdowns, we could not, you know, physically be in a room together. So, you know, we had to kind of, you know, improvise a little bit. And we, you know, spoke about doing something, you know, animated, you know, that we wouldn't have to necessarily be physically there for.
Yeah.
And the label had a couple different, you know, options in terms of animators, and you know, we just loved the style. And Sean came up with the kind of Red Riding Hood kind of treatment, and did the animation around that. And I think it's kind of cool, you know. I think it's cool we were forced to think outside the box, because I can't think of that song now with like a different visual to it. You know, if it was like a performance video or whatever with us, I don't think it would be as cool. I like that it's different, because the song's different. It's a very different song. It sounds different to anything on the album, for one, but also anything we've really done.
Yeah.
So I think it's fitting that it has a different looking video that's a little weird. It's dark and you know, just something way different to what we've done before.
It's fantastic. And then you followed it up with Beg.
Thank you. And then Beg too, yeah, same animation. And I was talking to Sean, and he was saying that he was following a news story, and I guess this young girl got kidnapped basically, and I want to say they killed her parents and everything, and then she was taken hostage and basically locked away in like a basement. And, you know, Sean having, you know, a 3-year-old daughter and everything, I think it really hit him on a bit of a deeper level, and, you know, just kind of made him angry. Yeah, another thing to be angry about. There's lots to be angry in this day and age. But he kind of wrote that song and wrote it from the perspective of, okay, this person, because the girl did escape eventually, but eventually, you know, from the perspective of her, you know, getting her vengeance and you know, taking this guy out, and yeah, and the video's pretty gory, you know. She gets pretty violent towards the end, but it's a feel good thing. Like I don't get sad when bad guys go down.
No, I smiled at the end. I just loved it.
Yeah, I love it too, and it might sound a little dark and everything, but like I love seeing like a bully like go down. Like you see those videos where some guy's like picking on a kid, and then this kid just like knocks him out of nowhere, and it feels so good. Like that's probably the thing I love most, is just, you know, watching a bully, you know, get what they got coming to them. Yeah. And so yeah, it's nothing like a good revenge story, you know. The Crow, one of my favorite movies, you know, just great revenge story.
If you were to describe this album in the terms of food, what would the sound be like?
Wow. I think the sound would be hot wings. Yeah, like we have the show over here called The Hot Ones, and it's this guy, and he interviews like really big celebrities. Like he had on like Gordon Ramsay, and I think Drew Barrymore just did it, and, you know, solid like A-list celebs. But he lines up like, I want to say like 10 chicken wings, and it goes from mild to like insanely hot, and then they eat one, and then he interviews them. It's this great show, and as a food fan, and someone who loves to cook, and someone who loves wings, I love the show. I'm obsessed with it. So.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So I'll say their hottest wing. That's what this album is.
I love it. And you've done a few cooking shows yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
From time to time, I've done the odd thing. I did one recently where I just took a camera and my phone and went out fishing, and I couldn't catch anything. I couldn't catch anything exciting, but I caught some little whiting, which they're actually very good eating. And you know, if I'm battling to catch, you know, in Savannah, you know, red drum, sea trout, and flounder are, you know, some of our best sort of eating fish, at least inshore. But they're not always easy to catch. So, but flounder, you can always catch a flounder. So that's kind of my go-to. But yeah, I enjoy cooking, and I do 99% of the cooking at home. My wife can cook, but you know, she doesn't enjoy it. I actually enjoy it, so I just always do it. But yeah, like fish and chips, I love making wings. You know, ribs. I've got a smoker that I love to use. I've got a sous vide machine, which is where you vacuum seal the, you know, meat and put in like a water bath, and so all that kind of stuff. And I just enjoy playing with it. You know, I love fishing, and then, you know, cooking the fish. I enjoy hunting and you know, making like biltong from the deer meat, or boerewors, you know, which, you know, we can't find South African boerewors in the States very easily. So I make my own, you know, with deer, which, you know, is awesome. And so yeah, I enjoy being in the kitchen. I get a kick out of it. Again, it ties into what I was saying earlier, where everybody needs to feel like they're doing something. So when I am home and we're not touring, I feel like being in the kitchen cooking, it's a sense of purpose. It's something creative. It's accomplishment. If you make a dish that turns out good, you're like, wow, I achieved something. I did something of value. I did something cool, you know. And then let me remember that recipe, and I'll make it again when the friends come over. So it's a little thing, but it's a fun thing to do for me. So yeah.
And finally, what's your scene?
My scene, music is my scene. Definitely, it's my first love. You know, love music. Fishing, I love too. Like I said, you know, I spend a lot of time on the water when I'm home. Yeah, I'd say those two things. And like you say, you know, things change. You know, I've certainly changed, you know, the older I get, and being married now, you know, things change. But yeah, I'm an old man. You know, give me some music and a fishing rod and a glass of scotch, and I'm a happy camper.
Oh, thank you so much. Good luck with the release tomorrow.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Wish you all the best, and we can't wait to see you back in Australia.
Yeah, as soon as they lift this lockdown stuff, we're gonna be out. Like we'd be out now if legally we're allowed to. You know, we're ready. So as you know, the minute they say we can go out, we're gonna be out there playing. So we hope to see everyone soon.